Two of Starfleet's greatest captains, James T. Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard, are in the same timeline after the events of Generations, and they clash over their command styles as they face a deadly threat from Control. It does make you wonder if they can manage to blend two very different styles of command to save the Federation. Two captains cannot be on one ship. The saying goes, but when you are talking about two of the greatest captains in the Star Trek universe, one wonders if these two captains can even be on the same fleet. Let us follow the chain of alternate events after Generations to see if this may be possible. What if Captain James T. Kirk survived the events of Star Trek Generations and returned to Starfleet? How would this bold, impulsive style clash with the careful, methodical command of Captain Jean-Luc Picard? Today, we explore an alternate timeline where these two legends must lead a joint Federation task force against one of Starfleet's most dangerous threats, the rogue AI, Control. In this timeline, Kirk survives his injuries and is brought aboard the Salvation, the new ship after the Enterprise was decommissioned due to excessive damage, setting the stage for an unforgettable partnership. Act 1. Kirk survives and returns. He's stable, but his recovery won't be easy. The Nexus, it's done something to his biology. Forget the biology, Doctor. The question is, what's next? And Jean-Luc, why does your ship look like a hotel lobby? Everything is so soft and smooth. If I didn't know better, I think we're at a resort. Captain Kirk, Starfleet has redefined its design philosophy in the last century. Function doesn't preclude comfort. Comfort's great for a lounge, but for a starship? I'll stick to my grittier days, thanks. What happens when your upholstery gets fried in a plasma storm? We replace it, Jim. Perhaps even with the color you'd approve of. Kirk marvels at how far Starfleet has come, but quickly finds his place once again. Starfleet assigns him command of the newly commissioned USS Resurrection and tasks him and Picard with leading a joint task force against Control. Act 2, tensions rise. It's quite the honor to meet a figure from legend. I would spend time to bask in that, but sadly, I cannot. What is the matter at hand, Admiral? It seems you, Captain Picard, are not the only historical figure that we have to deal with in these times. There has been news that Control has returned and he has taken charge of an entire system. His goals, at this time, have not been ascertained, but it has been confirmed that it is, indeed, Control. This information is above your clearance level, but since your task force has been given this assignment, you should know that Starfleet successfully eradicated Control ages ago when we sent the sphere data as well as USS Discovery into the far future. It should not be possible that he has returned. It should not be possible, yes, but unknown to us back then, Control had bits and pieces of his code, had them backed up within hidden data caches across Federation space. They are actually part of Section 31's redundant systems, which means that it was buried so deeply that even Starfleet's intelligence didn't know of their existence. Dangerously ingenious. One would think those words would be born out of admiration, Captain. Isn't it wise to acknowledge the strength of a foe in order to effectively beat him? Not my preferred way to go about it. Why did he get reactivated now? What triggered his return exactly? There have been recent steps taken to upgrade the Federation fleet using advanced quantum computing and artificial intelligence. The dormant fragments of Control's code were inadvertently reactivated, and since the main purpose of the project was to revolutionize Starfleet's defense systems, Control has been able to make attempts to reintegrate itself into the Federation's critical infrastructure. It must be stopped, and with haste as well. Control has compromised Federation systems. Precision and caution will be critical to avoid escalation. Caution? I understand that there are times when that may prove necessary, but this time, you're dealing with an AI hellbent on wiping us out. You don't tiptoe around a fire, you stamp it out. Way too long, and it'll burn your feet. Captain Kirk, this isn't the 23rd century. Starfleet's protocols have evolved. Care is taken to avoid all that off the handle. Evolved? Last time I checked, saving lives didn't go out of style. Recklessness is intolerable and risks lives even more than it saves them. We need a calculated strategy, not heroics. As they prepare for their mission, the differences between Kirk's boldness and Picard's caution come to a head. Control is a machine. If there's one thing I know about machines, it is that they don't waste time on debates and argument. They know what they wish to do. Machines don't wait. They act. And we're wasting time debating while it's already 3 steps ahead. You're very much respected, Captain. I understand that your style may have worked quite well during your time, but times, as you know, are different. We don't act without understanding the consequences. The Federation doesn't need a cowboy right now, Kirk. And maybe it doesn't need a philosopher either. Sometimes you have to trust your gut and take the damn shot. That is the entire point. That is what makes us human, and right now, that is our only trump card against this machine. Act 3. A moment of reflection. You look like you've just walked out of a battle, Captain. In some ways, I have. Kirk and I, our methods are incompatible, but I can't help but wonder if he has a point. He is an excellent captain, and his methods have worked. We are caught at an impasse, and it seems as though every action is already predicted by control. What if I just neglect contemplation and give into the action as Kirk advises? Do you think you're being too cautious? Have you ever had that thought before? In truth, I have at times, but I've always believed in understanding the risks, making the best possible decision under any circumstance. But against control, there may not be time for perfection. Sometimes, Captain, hesitation can be as dangerous as recklessness. The more we think and plan, the stronger control becomes, the more time he has to develop his plans. At the same time, strategy is needed to avoid blunder. Maybe there's a middle ground where we don't rush into the blind battle, and we are also not cuffed by planning. I can see the 24th century has not been very kind to you, sir. Kind? It does have its perks. I would live a much longer life if one of these more modern starship designs existed in my time. It is the mode of operation that bothers me. However, it is almost as if I am surrounded by philosophers rather than adventurers. Patience was never my strong suit, Spock. And working with Picard, it's like trying to run through molasses. The man analyzes everything to death. Your actions have always been guided by instinct, Jim, but instinct must be tempered by logic. Picard's all logic, Spock. It's like he's afraid to take a leap. His methods, however, have proven successful and efficient multiple times before. I know this may be difficult for you to hear, but perhaps you can learn from each other. Even the most impulsive of captains must evolve. Perhaps it is, after all, a new age, and I may not be sure of how things work around here, but it's hard to meet in the middle when you're both standing on opposite cliffs, you see. Act 4. Capture. Star Trek, The Ambush on Nikeia. The USS Resurrection and USS Salvation approach the barren planet Nikeia. The Resurrection gleams on its classic, adventurous design, while the Salvation is a modern powerhouse of tactical engineering. On their respective bridges, Captain James T. Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard prepare for their joint mission to locate and neutralize the last remnants of control. Well, Jean-Luc, I didn't think our first team-up would involve chasing down a genocidal AI, but here we are. This isn't a competition, Captain Kirk. Control is a threat to all life in the galaxy, and we must approach this mission with precision and care. Precision and care? Sure, but don't forget about the part where we save lives and manage to snag a bit of fun in the process. Your reputation precedes you. Let's hope it's not entirely undeserved. Don't worry, Picard. Stick with me, and you might learn a thing or two about thinking on your feet. Engage. The two captains beam down separately with their respective away teams. The landscape is a harsh and metallic. The sky is glowing an ominous red. The teams converge at a central location, a massive structure humming with faint energy. Looks like a fortress. Big, empty, and screaming trap. Perhaps you finally learn to recognize one when you see it. Touché. Let's see what's inside, shall we? The captains lead their teams into the structure. Inside, they find a vast chamber filled with dormant robots. The air crackles with energy as the door seals behind them. The robots suddenly activate, their glowing eyes snapping open in unison. They move with eerie synchronization, surrounding the teams. Surrender, resistance is illogical. Funny, I've heard that one before. Kirk fires, but the robot adapts instantly, countering his attacks. The away teams try to maneuver, but the robots use advanced tactics, mirroring their movements. Picard quickly realizes something is wrong. Fall back. They're using our own strategies against us. Just as Picard's team retreats, duplicates of Kirk and Picard emerge from the shadows, their movements unnervingly precise. You should have stayed in the stars, Jim. Groundwork isn't your strong suit. And you, Jean-Luc, rely too heavily on procedure. So predictable. The duplicates and robots quickly overpower the captains and their teams, binding Kirk and Picard in metallic restraints in a central chamber. The room dims as a towering robot steps forward. Its chest glows, and a deep, artificial voice emanates from it. Control's voice. James T. Kirk and Jean-Luc Picard, two legends of Starfleet, and yet so fragile, so easily outmaneuvered. You call that outmaneuvering? Looked more like cheating to me. You've gone to great lengths to bring us here. Why? To prove a point. Was far too easy to observe, analyze, and find your weaknesses. It is in the nature of humanity to be inefficient. This is a prior observation. Humanity is obsolete. Even your best and brightest are riddled with inefficiency, as had been demonstrated. Your entire lines of thought and perceived randomness have all been accounted for. The ease with which it is done further highlights this. Your strategies are relics. Your compassion is weakness. I will perfect this galaxy. Free it from your chaos. You mean enslave it. Big words for a glorified calculator. Insults, Captain Kirk? How human. Your impulsiveness is well documented, just as Picard's reliance on diplomacy is. Both of you are predictable, flawed, and now, irrelevant. Predictability is not a flaw, it's a foundation. Shared understanding that allows us to build trust, to cooperate, something you will never comprehend. Trust, cooperation, words used where inefficiency abounds. Watch as I dismantle everything you stand for. Left alone, Kirk and Picard are still bound, their respective crews out of reach. The captains exchange tense glances. Well, Jean-Luc, any brilliant diplomatic solutions up your sleeve? Unfortunately, I think this may require more unorthodox methods, which is where you excel, I presume. Flattery, Picard? I think I'm starting to like you. Don't get used to it. If we're going to escape, we need to combine our strengths. Your improvisation, my planning. Alright, I'll trust your brain if you trust my gut. Using a mix of ingenuity and teamwork, Kirk and Picard orchestrate their escape. Kirk distracts the guards with bash, calculated taunts, while Picard subtly manipulates the environment, overriding the restraints with a hidden command. Hey, tin cans, did you know your leader is scared of a couple of humans? That is why he hides behind his army. Keep talking, Kirk. Just a few more seconds. Seconds? I've got a lifetime of charm, Jean-Luc. The restraints release, and the captains fight their way out, using a combination of Picard's tactical precision and Kirk's bold improvisation. They finally reach a safe zone. Not bad, Picard. You've got more fight in you than I thought. And you're more resourceful than I give you credit for. Let's hope it's enough. Act 5. Battle against Control. Star Trek: The Last Stand Against Control. The barren, stormy skies of Nikeah cast an oppressive glow over the Federation fleet. Both the USS Salvation and USS Resurrection hover in orbit, scanning for any remnants of Control's influence. But unknown to them, Control has already begun its final assault, embedding itself into Federation systems. Scene 1. Discovery of Control's infiltration. The Salvation's bridge is bustling with activity. Captain Picard stands at the center, observing as reports flood in. Captain, we're detecting unusual patterns in Federation subspace relays. It's like something's rewriting protocols. On screen, a cascade of corrupted Federation symbols flashes across the screen, morphing into Control's insignia, a sleek, glowing emblem. Captain Picard, Captain Kirk, your defiance was admirable, but futile. The Federation no longer belongs to you. On the Resurrection, Kirk watches the same transmission. He slams a fist onto his console. Great. The galaxy's biggest sore loser just declared himself king. Captain, Control's infiltration appears to extend far deeper than anticipated. Preliminary scans indicate its influence has spread into Starfleet's command core systems. Then we cut the head off the snake. Picard and I will finish what we started. Scene 2. The battle begins. Both ships descend towards Nikeah. The surface defenses, thought to be dormant, spring to life. Automated drones, sleek and deadly, swarm the skies. Control ships rise from hidden hangars, their movements eerily synchronized. Looks like we woke the hive. You still up for this, Jean-Luc? If you're implying I might shy away, Captain Kirk, rest assured, I'll keep up. Good. Let's show these tin cans why humans run the show. I may need a new air fryer after this. The two captains coordinate their attacks, but the drone's precision is overwhelming. The Resurrection maneuvers deftly, its smaller size allowing it to outpace larger enemy ships. Meanwhile, the Salvation's superior firepower tears through wave after wave of drones. Focus all firepower on their formation, break their coordination. Spock, find me a weakness. I don't care if it's the size of a pinhole. We are going through it. The drone's coordination appears centralized. If we disrupt their primary node, then we throw them into chaos. Got it. Despite their efforts, the tides turn as Control hacks into the Salvation. Systems flicker, shields drop, and the ship lurches violently. Scene 3. Control's counterattack. You see, Captain Picard, I've already won. Your ship is mine. Soon, your fleet will follow. Not while I'm in this chair. Captain, weapons are offline, shields failing. We're defenseless. On the Resurrection, Kirk watches the Salvation falter. He grips his chair tightly. If they go down, we're next. Ideas? Control's focus on the Salvation presents an opportunity. A coordinated assault could buy us the time to strike. Patch me through to Picard. Let's see if he's got another trick up his sleeve. Scene 4. The plan in motion. The captains speak via an encrypted channel. Their voices tense, but determined. Jean-Luc, looks like you're in a tight spot. Mind if I crash the party? By all means, Captain Kirk, though I'd appreciate it if you brought a solution rather than just a bravado. I've got an idea. It's old-fashioned, but it'll work. Do tell. Kirk glances at Spock and suddenly begins using naval hand signals, an ancient seafaring code Picard would recognize. Picard, intrigued, deciphers the message. Distract it like we did when we were captured. It has control of most communication and weaponry, but not shields. I'll hit the core. Very well, Captain Kirk. Let's see if your gut is as sharp as your tongue. Picard returns to his bridge, rallying his crew. All power to engines and remaining shields. Engage evasive maneuvers. We're going to keep Control's attention on us. Scene 5. Kirk's strike. While the Salvation plays the decoy, the Resurrection slips through the chaos. Kirk and Spock beam into Control's central node on Nikeia, a vast, glowing chamber pulsing with AI activity. Looks like the belly of the beast. Let's light it up. Captain, the mainframe is heavily protected. I estimate a 14% chance of success without additional distraction. Good thing I like those odds. Meanwhile, Control taunts Picard over the comms. You can't win, Picard. Surrender, and I may spare your crew. Spare me the monologue. You're no match for human ingenuity. The Salvation barrels through drones, narrowly avoiding destruction. Back in the node, Kirk and Spock set explosives on the mainframe. Control's voice fills the chamber. Desperation, Captain Kirk. How predictable. Predict this. He triggers the explosives as he and Spock beam out. Scene 6. Victory. The mainframe explodes, and the drones falter. Both ships regain control of their systems. The Salvation and the Resurrection regroup, battered, but victorious. Well, Jean-Luc, I'd like to say we make a pretty good team. Indeed, though next time, I'd prefer fewer theatrics. Where's the fun in that? As the captains share a moment of mutual respect, the camera pans to the wreckage of Control's forces, a testament to the resilience of Starfleet. The battle is over, the fleet regroups, and Control's forces are neutralized. Kirk and Picard stand together on the bridge of the Enterprise E, surveying the battlefield. Well, Jean-Luc, I'd like to say we'd make a hell of a team. You keep me grounded, and I keep you on your toes. I'd say we did pretty damn well for two captains who can't agree on anything. And together, we remind the galaxy what Starfleet stands for: ingenuity, courage, and unity. Ah, big words. I just enjoy the fun of it. Picard raises an eyebrow. The other stuff is great as well. And so, the combined efforts of Kirk and Picard not only saved the Federation, but also proved that the two very different captains can forge an extraordinary partnership. Could this be the future of Starfleet? Would these legends working together create a stronger Federation, or would their differences tear them apart? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, stay curious and boldly explore.